Hey guys, welcome back to OP Podcast. How have you all been? We hope you've been well. How are you?
Not feeling too well.
No, I think when we first started this podcast, I was the one who was ill, and unfortunately you're ill today.
Yeah, I finally caught what you had.
My cooties.
Yeah, ugh.
Or like 2 months later.
2 months later, yeah, it's definitely the same thing.
Yeah. Anyway, today we wanted to talk a little bit about our public services going on strike everywhere. Everybody is striking at the moment. If you didn't know by our accents, we are Londoners in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up.
We're British. But yeah, we've got nurses going on strike. For those of you who didn't know, I'm a nurse myself. And we've got train drivers going on strike as well. We've got paramedics going on strike, and I think teachers are about to go on strike in Feb, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think about all of that?
Well, I can see why. I mean, especially with the nurses, and it's not just me being biased because you're a nurse. But I feel like nurses are wildly underpaid for what they do, how essential they are, and how many lives they save. The responsibilities they have, and essentially doing the same amount of stuff as a doctor, just without that extra slice at the top of signing some stuff off.
I mean, I think doctors also go through it, but I get what you
they
mean.
do, yeah. I mean, they still go through the same amount of training and everything,
Yeah,
but like once they get that extra, like doctorate or whatever, yeah. Like their pay packet reflects it. Nurses, their pay packet doesn't.
No, and to be frank, I don't actually believe doctors. I mean, they are getting much better paid than nurses are, but I don't think
on the whole, I think
on the whole,
generally,
yeah. Oh, much better.
I'm sure there's some like fringe cases or something.
I'm pretty sure, but they also, I think, the healthcare system in general is just going downhill, unfortunately. And being in it 7 years now of giving the NHS service, it's so hard as a nurse, because even throughout the training, there were so many nights where I was so unhappy. The course is very intense. We've got all your colleagues, your friends, going back home to just see their families, summer holidays, Christmas holidays, whichever midterm holiday may be, and we are often left behind either on placement or doing assignments, and you're quite isolated in that sense, and that can also be mind triggering. It can cause you to go into depression, anxiety, which I developed all of those throughout the training, as you've seen. Most of the time I'll just come home and cry, because you've also got people being mean to you, your mentors potentially, or you've just got other just nurses who are burnt out and stressed out and don't want the burden of having to train somebody else or having to be responsible for someone else. So to go through all of that on our training as well, there are good parts. I do enjoy it. And then to come into the real working world, and then to be faced with some bits of that, but also having to work extra hard, dealing with life in general, and then also doing long hours, not having the flexibility of seeing anybody or actually having time to enjoy your life properly.
Especially when you were doing night shifts.
And then not to be paid enough for that sacrifice that we continue to make every day is gut-wrenching.
And I remember when you said that you wanted me to meet you at work, because there were reports of what was it? I think some nurses have been targeted with people on motorbikes. They were snatching handbags and bags and stuff and phones from nurses when they'd just come off a long day shift or night shift or something. And I mean, that's never good anyway, don't get me wrong. But to target nurses after a long 12-hour shift, constantly on your feet, running around, just like you said.
Oh gosh, there will be some
looking
days
after people
on shift, and I'm pretty sure every healthcare professional can relate to this. especially nurses. There'll be some days where, you know, you're encouraging patients, you're measuring their urine output literally by the hour, and then you would have gone a whole 12-hour shift and probably peed once, and you've not drank anything, or you'll be having your lunch at 6 p.m. You know, you're working on a unit whereby you're supposed to be responsible for 2 patients, but somehow you end up being in charge of all the patients, and you have 2 additional nurses with you, and then you've got maybe 2-3 other HCAs running the other side. It's crazy, it's manic, but hopefully we do get the pay that we deserve. There's a lot more to nursing, but it just feels like, you know, of course you're doing the job, because in every job I feel like people just aren't paid enough, but it's a job that requires a kind heart, and every person who's doing it is basically sacrificing their time. Every person who's doing it, actually it means something to them. It's beyond the money. But also living in an economy whereby you can barely pay your rent, childcare is ridiculous,
energy costs are going up.
Even before the economy became like this, nurses were underpaid, and everything else has increased, and our pay has not gone up. Because of COVID and everything happening, the stress that we endured, everybody else came out of COVID and has come out of COVID and is thinking, okay, COVID is over and done with now. Some people are back into the office working. So the kind of like sadness or the high stress that came with COVID for majority of the population has gone down, whereas for the healthcare system, it never really went down. We've never really had a moment like sit down and put your feet up.
I mean that's what they said during COVID times anyway. You know, with COVID happening, it obviously put extra pressure on the NHS, but they said, you know, in pretty much every report that they did, that the NHS was already under strain and underfunded anyway, and then everyone had to lean on it because of COVID, and it nearly broke.
And another thing I would like to highlight, I think when I was studying, we had the NHS bursary, which was something that really helped me greatly. You know, because yes, I was on placement, so having that extra little money every month really helped to go towards my rent. It basically paid for my rent, and my maintenance loan was what I lived off on for the remaining 3 months or things like that. But students now, nursing students now, and I don't know if it's the same for midwifery students, but nursing students now do not get the NHS bursary, and that has been the case. I believe that was the last cohort to have received it. So now, as a nursing student, not only are you doing long hour shift placements and having to juggle your life, so if you're a mum, if you're a normal student like 18-year-old and in your 20s and going, if you're a 50-something-year-old lady wanting to go into nursing, you've already got life commitments, you know, and you go into this course, you're doing 12-hour placements, you're doing assignments, you're going to lectures, you're juggling your life responsibilities, and on top of that, you do not get any bursary to help you get through that. So you find that some students are having to work extra on top of also doing placement and on top of juggling life and doing assignments, which we have many assignments to do.
I remember some of yours.
Yeah.
You got me to proofread some of them.
Yes, it's intense. So hopefully we do get the pay we deserve, and to be honest, I hope the government starts to appreciate the work that nurses do, and I hope people start to show nurses the respect that they actually deserve, because honestly, it's not everybody that can do it. It's not anybody that can do it. It's a hard job, incredibly hard, that requires heart and soul in a special way that I can't explain to you, or if you're not a nurse, essentially, you know. But yes, to all my healthcare professionals out there, hang in there. We will get the pay that we deserve. Listen, one day, to the teachers as well, and our public health transport, people, whatever you do, if you deserve more pay, I really and truly hope that one day the gods of paychecks will answer our prayers.
Well, I don't think it's all just about pay. I mean, I think it's a big part of it, but I think another part of it is actually just working conditions. I mean, for nurses specifically, I mean, you've talked about, when you're meant to be in charge of a couple of patients, but then being in charge of a whole ward. For teachers, it's, needing them to come in and do more with their class or taking on more classes if, depending on what school system they're in. I'm not really sure what it would be for train drivers, but I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Hours as well.
Yeah, I'm sure their
probably
shift
not paid
patterns might
enough.
change a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how that works too much, but I'm sure that's a part of the reason why they're striking as well.
Yeah.
Because they're striking every weekend this month, I think.
Yeah, and I think at the moment as well, everyone's feeling the pinch with the cost of living prices going up. And honestly, childcare too is ridiculous. The people in the childcare services, childcare is so expensive, but no one's talking about how the people who actually work for these childcare services aren't paid enough. They're underpaid as well. Isn't it funny?
Yeah, they're not paid a huge amount now.
They're not, absolutely not. So I don't understand. Say you are in a classroom filled with 15 children, and for example, for us, our son goes 3 days a week, and the highest we've ever had to pay was £1,050 a month. If you're charging that for 15 children, how much money is that?
That's about £15,000.
That is probably somebody's one staff's salary in there. Like 15, 18 or 18, 20k.
Well, it's most of one,
Yeah.
But then, you get that every month.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, obviously they've got to pay for the premises and all of that, which, I can understand, but it is a lot, and they don't get paid a lot. But then, what's the alternative in that situation? Either we pay more.
No, the government
it's
needs to put
subsidised.
something into it. Look at all these criteria there is for everyone to go through to become, to go into their career or where they specialise. So look at the training, the amount of years doctors have to put into their studies to become a doctor, and then if you want to specialise to become a GP, to become a cardiologist, that's an additional couple of years on top of that, a few years on top of that. With nurses, it's the same. With me, if I want to go into a different field, this requires going back to uni for a year or doing a special course or something like that. But to become a prime minister or a politician, and these are the people that are in charge of distributing where the money goes, what goes where. Something is just not adding up. How are they not realising that these people fighting for pay actually need it to survive in this economy that's ridiculously expensive?
I don't think they fully appreciate the NHS for as much as it's worth. I think it's definitely underfunded. I just wouldn't know where they would pull the money from. They should, but I don't know the details of their budget or where they put it. But they need to be able to find the money from somewhere, to be honest.
Yeah, it's quite hard, but guys, honestly, hang in there. I feel like things are going to get better soon.
They will get better soon.
They will get better, and just hang in there. Try to be kind to yourself. I know I always say in every episode, I'm always going on about being kind to yourself, but once again, in a world whereby you're surrounded by vultures, just basically ready to suck everything out of you, being your place of employment or family members or toxic people or toxic friends or bosses and things like that, you can't also be sucking your own energy. You can't be helping them drain you by being negative or unkind to yourself. So just try to be that little bit of light in that room of darkness, and the light always outshines the darkness anyway, right?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Speaking of toxic people as well, I'm pretty sure everybody's had their
fair share of toxic people over the Christmas period.
Oh yes.
Spending time with family members that maybe you don't want to spend too much time with, or were reminded that, you know what, you're good, but in small doses. Like, oh, it was fun, but like, you know what, I can wait another year for this.
Why do we always put ourselves in such situations? Because you know that these people are not good for you, but yet we continue to go to these gatherings and things
But
like that.
they're
Why do we do
family.
that to ourselves? We need to learn to do better. I think that's the one thing I'm definitely trying to encourage myself to do as well this year. Listen to the inner me. What do I want? You know, because you kind of prioritise everybody else's emotions before yours. Or what's this person going to think? If I don't go, they're going to say this. If I don't go, it's going to make this person feel this way.
Or if I don't invite this person, they're going to feel some type of way.
Yes, even though I don't really like them, I have to invite them anyway because so is going to say this and that person's going to say this. Why? Just do what you want. You know, that's what I'm trying to do a lot this year. Listen to myself. Do you want to go or do you not want to go? Actually, I don't want to go. I'm quite tired.
I want to stay inside.
I want to stay inside. That's what feeds
I
me.
want to be in my own home.
Exactly.
Home.
Home. I want to be home. I want to be comfortable. But yeah, do let us know how you kind of deal with people like that. Because I think our generation is becoming very aware of behavioural patterns, noticing toxic traits in people and in also themselves, the individuals. So I think our generation has a lot of self-awareness as well. But we're all very self-aware, but we don't do the things that we need to do
to protect ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. It's crazy why we just keep putting ourselves in such situations and then keep moaning about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, this year we decided to actually do something about it. It doesn't mean we'll do it every single year.
No.
Because, you know, some years we might want to.
Yeah.
Some years they might actively choose to behave differently, which might make us want to go or invite them or, you know, whichever, but I think we've mentioned that this Christmas we had a cosy night in. You know, we had just the three of us, me, you, and
our baby.
We sat down at the table. You cooked a roast chicken, did potatoes and veg. We sat down. We ate as a family. We packed it all away when it was all done. There was no leftovers because we ate it all, and then we packed away, sat down, watched TV for a bit, and to be honest, it was really enjoyable. There wasn't anything extra to think about. There wasn't any extra drama to think about. It was great.
It was fabulous. I just feel like we didn't just decide to not go. It's just because we were really at the end of our tether. And I think we worked so hard last year that we just thought, to be honest with you, we also don't want to spend Christmas being in an uncomfortable environment, you know, having conversations that required like extra brain work and, you know, having to, if you're not happy, having to put on a smiley face to just please other people, to eat the same foods.
No, we just wanted to relax and do our own thing.
We just wanted to relax and just be inside, and that's exactly what we did. I felt so rejuvenated afterwards, after Christmas.
Yeah, it was lovely. I mean, the food was great. I mean, you did it again the next day because I asked you to. So, like, it was great, do it again. And you were like, oh, well, so it was a lot of work, but I guess so.
It was a lot of work, and then you already had we had the bag with the shopping in it, and I just made it. Again, we sat down, we had another Christmas dinner the next day.
On Boxing Day, yeah.
On Boxing Day, it was fabulous. But yeah, guys, as time goes on, as you were getting older, we're only 28, But as we're growing, I'm just starting to realise that when you put more time into feeding your soul, and that does not mean going on a big excursion or anything as such, but it just means taking that time to sit down, to just have that cup of tea, choosing to focus on the positive. Okay, today, even though I didn't go to the gym, or even though I came across as a fool in this meeting, at least I went to the gym, or, something of that sort. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Just having that time to check in with yourself sometimes, just, just taking a minute for a bit of, I don't know, self-reflection. Just, how was today actually, once I've stepped away from it? Was it, it was stressful while I was in it, but at the end of the day, that can stay over there. I'm going to go home, wash my hands of it, and sit down.
A good analogy is today. Today we had some good news. It's been a long while. It's a smidget news, but we're just quite happy about it. And then I had someone who I consider to be a close friend send me a video that actually kind of touched a nerve, and it came across very patronising and condescending, and I just simply asked him, why did you send me this video, unprovoked? It's a video giving marriage advice from a person who's not married.
When you haven't gone to him before.
When I haven't gone to him
or said anything.
With anything, it's just unprovoked. I'm just minding my business, and I just receive a marriage advice from a person who's barely been in a relationship and isn't married. No shade there, but I was just thinking, it riled me up for a minute there. I was so angry. And the reason why I got angry was because I questioned him, why did you send me this? What do you want me to take? What lessons do you want me to take from this video? What was the reason behind sending me this? And his response was, whoa. You don't need to get angry.
Oh, chunky message, are you okay?
Oh, yes, you seem a bit sensitive. Are you okay? That was so, to spin it like that, it was very much like, why?
Well, yeah, I mean, the following message is like, oh yeah, I've actually had a chance to read it. So, when he sent that first message,
yeah,
he hadn't even read it. He was just like, wow, this seems like too much of an essay. Are you okay? That's too chunky.
Are you okay? Why is this message, why has it made you so angry? And just, but I took a step back and I thought, when I was in the shower, which actually I was just thinking, actually, do you know what? It doesn't matter. That tiny 5 minutes of him sending me that video, see it from this point of view. He doesn't know the diddliest squat about anything. Just don't take that into consideration. Just focus on the good news. The little bit of good news we've had in about 5 years. But the moral of the story here...
Make our life sound really depressing.
It is really depressing.
Okay.
But the moral of the story here, guys, is just this year really do try to find the tiniest bit of positivity in your daily activities and choose to put your mind to those things, because I feel like you only grow what you sow,
Absolutely. You need to plant a seed for a tree to grow, and then you can harvest the fruit.
Exactly. So I'm hoping by summer I will be all zen. Until then...
You'll be so zen.
I'm a work in progress. Sometimes I explode, other times I choose the high road. But
I think we're all a work in progress. I mean, nobody's perfect at any point in time, but I mean, you've said it so many times, but just be kind to yourself, and in this context at least, just remember to check in with yourself and make sure that you are prepared to protect yourself. It doesn't matter who it is, if they're not behaving in a way that falls in line with your values or what you hold dear to you, then you don't need to bring them into your space. You don't need to invite them to events. Yeah. Are people going to talk about it? Sure, because people love talking about everybody else.
Yeah.
Because it means that they're not talking about them.
Yeah. Or they're not thinking about their real deep issues.
Yeah.
But it's just people, and not everybody's going to like you either. we're only saying, we're not just talking out loud, guys. We're actually also, we're not talking at you. This is just something that we're also kind of going through at the moment and trying to work through with such people. So
Yeah, I mean, we're talking between the two of us, but the podcast is here, and it's the third person in this.
yes. Anyway, guys, we hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Do let us know what your opinions are or what your thoughts are. We have our socials up as well, which he will try to add to the videos.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be uploading the podcast to Spotify and YouTube, and at the bottom of the YouTube video, I'll try my best to add in our Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, so our Instagram, The Real OB Podcast, altogether, no spaces. Do make sure you subscribe as well and give us feedback on things that you want us to discuss in future.
Yeah, give us topics to talk about, and just let us know how you feel about this podcast as well.
Yeah,
We'd love to hear some feedback, or how you feel, how does it feel listening to it as well.
Yes, so definitely let us know. Your feedback will be much appreciated. And we hope you have a wonderful, guys. We hope you have... And we hope you have a wonderful week ahead, guys. We will post this and we'll catch up with you later.
Bye for now.
Ciao, ciao.